These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. When it comes to online college, Southern New Hampshire University is so good, it's scary. Listen, the facts don't lie. SNHU has degree programs that fit your goals, online classes that fit your life, and real support at every step. And if that wasn't enough, they've got some of the lowest online tuition rates in the U.S. This is an airtight case, you guys. Visit snhu.edu/morbid to get started. That's snhu.edu/morbid. Every good detective needs a partner to support them on important cases. Think of a State Farm agent like your sidekick, there to help you along the way in your search for coverage. State Farm can help you choose the coverage you need, whether it's for your home, car, boat, or even RV. With so many options, it's nice knowing you have help finding what fits for you so you can get back to solving all of life's bigger cases. Go to statefarm.com or use the award-winning app to connect with a local agent and get a quote. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hey, weirdos, I'm Ash, and my microphone is traveling away from me.
And I'm Elena, and my microphone is staying right in front of me.
My microphone? Oh, and this is morbid. My microphone loves to just like drift off away from me. It's like, ooh,
it does.
It's like, don't speak.
She says, no.
She says, I know just what you're thinking.
It's true, she does.
You know what I
mean? Ash sings now. She's a singer.
Did it sound like that? Did it sound like I was like a real professional?
It did. It's gorgeous.
Wow. I have a sore throat, so that's interesting.
Oh, no, it's still sore.
It's a little scratchy, yeah.
Please stay away from me.
Well, I'm leaving the country soon.
Just kidding. No, don't get sick for your vacation.
I would be so fucking pissed, let me tell you.
You dare do that.
No, I think I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take some, this is not professional advice, but I am going to take some Zicam. It always gets me.
Some zinc.
Or Zocam? Zicam? It's the one that has zinc in it.
Zinc.
Yeah.
You know, again, not professional medical advice.
No, never. It's like I said the other night, I'm just a podcast girl.
I'm just a podcast girl, okay?
When I was making that Sleepy Girl mocktail, you add magnesium to it, but like obviously you should talk to your doctor. So I was like, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just a podcast girl.
Yeah, that's all I know.
I'm not a doctor.
And I barely know that. So really.
Honestly.
Honestly. But yeah, it's been a wild day today. We had a meeting with like a very cool person today.
Yeah, we did.
Who it was.
I thought you were about to just go for it. I was like, wow.
I'm just edging everyone. Go watch The Rewatcher. You'll get that joke. But I forgot we were there.
I was like, hey, you might want to explain that.
If you watch The Rewatcher, it's a running joke. Okay, I didn't just pull that out of my butt. But yeah, it was a cool meeting, and hopefully it will lead to something cool that you guys will know about, and we'll let you know when that happens.
That's the goal.
Until then, that was annoying of me to do, but I was excited about it.
I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you know what? I think I'm really, just stalling the beginning because this case is a very sad case. It's very, very, very sad. And We are on part 2 of the Bayou Strangler, Ronald Dominique.
A sad case, but definitely one worth telling. And I think you're
very
doing
worth telling.
a really great job so far.
Oh, thank you very much. I hope so.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is just one of those cases. We're in part 2 now. So I believe at this point we're at close to 10 murders.
Wild.
He's like pretty prolific and just awful. And again, we're going to see more and more the way that this was portrayed in the media was pretty shameful.
A bunch of bullshit.
Pretty shameful. And, you know, in the end, the justice gets served legally, but it's really unfortunate that the entire time it wasn't.
It was just a fucking mess.
It's just really upsetting, but let's continue. Now we are on to 2002 at this point.
Wow.
So it's pretty rare, we've talked about this before, for a serial killer to de-escalate.
Yeah.
Much harder for them to de-escalate.
Right.
Or to stop killing for, you know, long periods of time. But it does happen. Remember old shitflower Dennis Rader, BTK, over in Kansas there. He killed 10 people over a 15-year period, and then he just settled into life as whatever the hell he was and ended his reign of terror for a long time, to be honest. So it's like that happens. Also, Gary Ridgway, who the Green River Killer, we haven't covered him yet. I know a lot of people want us to. Trust me, it's coming.
That's an Elena case for sure.
Yeah, and it's coming up, so stay tuned for that. But he also kind of dramatically slowed his activities after marrying his third wife in 1988. So it does happen.
Oh yeah, you know, I've read like a little bit about that case, and you're right.
Yeah,
now can confirm.
You're like, yes, you are correct. It's unclear what caused Ronald Dominique to stop killing between 2000 and 2002, but he did. At the time, he'd been working 2 jobs and had become involved with the Lions Club and other community activities. So maybe he found some kind of degree of social acceptance that he was looking for. Didn't like quite feel the same urges he felt. Who knows? Maybe he was just like his mind was elsewhere,
or maybe he just didn't get caught for those specific ones.
That's a very plausible thing too. So it's like, who knows? But from what we know, there's nothing between those 2 years.
Interesting.
Whatever the case may have been, though, Dominique's hiatus came to an end on October 5th, 2002, when he met 20-year-old Kenneth Randolph,
so young.
A neighbor in Houma. Remember, he had moved to Houma, who fit the killer's victim type pretty perfectly. On October 6th, Kenneth Randolph's body was discovered face down in a remote cane field in rural Lafource Parish. I've looked all these up, so I'm trying to say them as well as I can.
Sounds good to me.
He was completely nude except for a pair of white athletic socks.
Oh, God.
Unlike the previous victims, this body appeared to have been posed by the killer as well. This is a little graphic, just a little upsetting, just so you know. He was posed so that his like buttocks stuck out. So it was obviously done to appear very crass. Like that was and it was supposed to be like a humiliating way to pose someone.
I fucking hate this guy so much.
He's fucking gross. He's disgusting.
I don't understand the depravity to do that to another person, to do anything like this to another person, and then to stage someone like that.
Like the humiliation that he's trying to inflict. It's like, I feel like he is humiliated by who he is as a human being and who his soul is. So he just puts it on other people.
Yeah.
But detectives also noticed that the victim had marks on his wrists, which indicated that he had been bound for at least some period of time. And there were also marks around his neck, which has become kind of a hallmark here.
Yeah.
The autopsy was conducted a few days later by Dr. Brittany Summers, who collected the usual hair and fiber evidence and also conducted a rape kit that they hope could maybe be used for a DNA comparison if they ever got a suspect.
Yeah.
Dr. Summers concluded that Kenneth Randolph had only been dead 5 or 6 hours when his body had been discovered in the field. So very fresh. And he had superficial abrasions on his arms and legs and a large horizontal abrasion stretching from his forehead to his chest.
Wow.
There were abrasions on his wrists from where he'd been bound, and one of his wrists had bled, indicating that the ligature was tied really tightly and had cut into the skin, and he was alive for it, obviously. Finally, Dr. Summers concluded that the cause of death was strangulation, evident by a, quote, hemorrhaging on the underlying soft tissue surrounding the hyoid bone.
Oh, okay.
Despite the obvious ligature mark on Randolph's neck, Dr. Summers was unable to determine whether he died from a ligature or manual strangulation. Which, there's a pretty decent ligature mark on his neck. So I don't know if it was just she couldn't tell whether he died from that or whether he put his own manual pressure onto it. I don't know. That's like strange to me.
Maybe they're like signs of both, so she couldn't say which one he had died from.
Yeah, because I suppose like the hyoid bone thing, like maybe that could bring it into place. It's just interesting that they weren't able to pin it. But less than 2 weeks after the discovery of Randolph's body in the cane field, another young black man had gone missing from Houma. On the evening of October 12th, 2002, so not long after.
Not at all.
Shelley Weston wasn't too worried when her boyfriend, 26-year-old Anoka Jones, hadn't returned after I guess he had just come home a few minutes earlier than that, and he had brought his bicycle in the apartment, and then he was like, oh, I'm just going to go outside for a smoke.
Oh.
So at first, she wasn't super worried because apparently, like, he would say he was going to go out for a smoke, and that didn't always just entail going out for a smoke. So, like, if he didn't come back right away,
it wasn't too alarming.
Worried. But then several hours had passed, and she was like,
That's
maybe
different.
He went somewhere. I don't know. Like, he does this sometimes. Like, she was like, I guess it's a little weird, but she wasn't super worried at first.
Okay.
So she kind of just went to bed, and she was like, he'll come back in. But when she woke up the following day, he still wasn't home, and she hadn't heard from him. So she became very alarmed and reported him missing right away, but by then it was already too late.
Oh, no.
Jones's body was discovered under the Interstate 310 overpass the following morning. He was discovered by Officer John Smith. He was a patrol officer who just happened to be driving in the area.
Wow.
Officer Smith immediately noticed drag marks leading from the body to the edge of the road, which indicated that he was obviously dumped there. Otherwise, looking around the scene, there was really nothing else to indicate what had happened or the cause of death right away. Now, at the time of the discovery, Jones was clothed, but his shirt had been pulled halfway up his torso, and his pants had been pulled down to mid-thigh. There was a small amount of dried blood around his mouth and surface abrasions on his torso and hands.
Okay.
Which also could be partially from dragging.
Right. I was just going to ask you that.
Now, like the other victims, Anoka Jones's cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation, and the manner of death is considered to be homicide. So right away, it's fitting right in.
Getting paid twice a month doesn't mean money is scarce. It just feels that way. That feeling makes you do weird stuff, like putting things on a card you didn't need to. Earnin removes that feeling. With Earnin, you can access up to $150 per day of money you've already earned, plus up to $1,000 between paychecks. Standard transfers take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees, and expedited transfers start at $3.99 and cap at $5.99. 5 million people are already on it, and honestly, it's wild it didn't exist sooner. Download Earnin on the App Store or Google Play, spelled like earning money without the G. Type in Morbid under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Tips are voluntary and don't affect the service. Available in select states. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Now, through interviews with Jones's friends and family, investigators learned that several hours before he'd gone missing from his girlfriend's apartment, Anoka Jones and a friend had been confronted on the street by 2 men who had pulled up alongside them in a gray truck. Now, according to Jones's friend, Ron Gibbons, Jones ran as soon as the men got out of the truck. So he ran away. because apparently in the truck there was a very known drug dealer that was riding in the back seat. And I guess I'm not going to name him because, this drug dealer denied any knowledge of or having any participation in Anoka Jones's murder after this, because he was obviously brought in after that.
Right.
But he rattled off a list of other associates, anyone he knew who could have been responsible for the murder. And he offered up hair and saliva samples, and he said anything else detectives needed to get him off this list of suspects.
Wow.
So he was like, I did not do this. Like,
that's very surprising.
Isn't
that he
that
would give them
wild?
all that being a well-known drug dealer.
Yeah, and they were able to cross him off the list. Like, he didn't do it.
I mean, that's nice that he helped.
I'm glad he at least helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, despite being pointed in the direction of drug dealers, detectives in Lafource Parish had a feeling that Jones's murder had nothing to do with drugs. Meanwhile, investigators in other parishes around New Orleans had begun reading through reports of unsolved murders in surrounding jurisdictions, and they started noticing the connections between their unsolved cases and those as far out as Houma. Now, remember, one of the things about Ronald Dominique that we are going to talk about a lot and mention a lot is that he made sure he killed in different jurisdictions. He not only killed people in marginalized communities and people he knew were going to be vulnerable, he also moved it around a lot to really make it a mess to investigate. He really made this as fucking horrific as he could for everyone involved.
Makes sense.
For example, detectives working the Kenneth Randolph case in Jefferson Parish arranged to speak with the friends and families of Anoka Jones, hoping they might discover any common associates, any enemies that they both might have had that maybe led to their murders. Unfortunately, other than some shared habits and lifestyles that the two men maybe had in common, they really didn't have a whole lot in common other than that. In most cases, the murder of a dozen people under very similar circumstances would likely cause public outrage.
You would think.
And intense pressure on the police to get the person responsible.
Of course.
I mean, we've seen it a million times. When it's a different kind of victim, but sometimes the pressure is bad when it's a different kind of victim because they get so pressured that they make mistakes or they rush to grab someone who might not have done it.
Right. Here,
in the case of Ronald Dominique, the victims were all marginalized men of color from impoverished communities. And they were, and the way the media was portraying it was they led quote unquote high risk lifestyles.
Which is not a fucking thing.
So there was no internal or external pressure on on investigators to catch this person.
It's like, why wouldn't you just want to anyways?
Yeah.
Though?
And again, like I said before, this was all made even more complex and garbled by the fact that Dominique committed these crimes in multiple jurisdictions, sometimes as much as 60 or 70 miles apart.
Wow. So he just drove around.
Getting close departments to even work together can be hard.
Right.
Never mind getting that kind of thing. Like you're contending
with a lot.
A complex system. And also contending with egos,
pride,
with, people not keeping accurate records or not keeping, a good chain of custody on evidence or not interviewing the right people, not having the record they need. Human error. And you're doing it with miles apart, trying to put these together.
Just like statewide.
Yeah. Now, Anoka Jones was the 12th man killed by Ronald Dominique. Wow. And 8 months would pass before he killed again.
And it's like he should have been stopped at this point. The fact that
that's
so many more people had to die because this just wasn't top priority is so fucking disgusting.
That's what kills me. And it's like this asshole, this monster took moments of de-escalation.
Right.
That's your time. Use that time. Hone in. Stop the next from happening. And it feels almost like they didn't. I mean, I will say they didn't have a lot of evidence to go on either. He didn't leave a lot of these scenes, so I'll say that for them. Like, it's not like they had all this evidence and they were just ignoring it. But it's like you got to put the nose to the grindstone and you got to try to stop that next one from happening.
Where's the task force
and also
being put together?
Warn the connect. That's a good thing that you say that because we will talk about that. I'm glad you mentioned it because I said the same thing. I was like, task force.
Yeah.
At this point, 12 murders in.
Like, time to set up.
Task force time.
Right?
And also, it's like you're not warning the correct communities of people.
To be vigilant.
Like, you're leaving pieces out of the puzzle because you want people to feel like they want to help more, which is even sadder. But you're not warning the right people. So the right people don't have their guards up.
And it's so interesting to me because obviously we're talking about quote unquote high risk lifestyles, which we don't even think is a thing, but that's what they were claiming. And it's how it was labeled. But it's like, you know, sex work is considered quote unquote high risk. And even police forces will warn sex workers and then they'll band together and look out for each other when like we've told those kinds of stories.
Of course.
So it's like, why didn't it happen here? Because these people could have looked out for one another. And this is the gay community. It's the Black community. Like, they could have looked out for one another and would have.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like you didn't even give them a fighting chance.
And it's why?
It's fucked up. And there's points when the next murder happens and you say you could have at least tried to stop that from happening. And we're going to hear some comments about these things that are really distressing the way that they were looked at. And it's just like,
oh no.
But it's you need to hear it because you need to hear how awful this was and why a lot of people don't know about it.
Right.
That's wild to me that a lot of people, I didn't
until you brought it up. I had never heard of Ronald Dominique.
And it's like shameful.
Maybe like heard his name like on a TV show or something like that, but not as much as I should. I was going to say, known.
And maybe
right,
like because they don't do anything. Like this is not told. Now, on the afternoon of Saturday, May 24th, 2003, 18-year-old Detrell Woods left his mother's house in Houma, telling his cousin he was going to stay with his girlfriend for the night. Now, from the moment his friend Gary Birdwright had arrived to pick him up, Detrell's mother, Margaret Woods, said she had a feeling something bad was going to happen to her son.
Oh, wow.
And she actually tried to convince him not to go out that night.
Oh, that's so haunting. That's a mama.
And my
that
heart
poor
breaks
woman.
For her.
And to not be able to convince him and then
because he's like,
worst
he's 18.
fears confirmed.
He's like, what are you talking about, Mom? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course we've all.
He's like, whatever. I'm 18.
Like, Mom, I'm fine.
And again, Detrell was just like, Mom, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. And then he reminded her, I left my bike at Gary's, so if nothing else, I need to go get it back. And he's like, I promise you, I'm going to be back tomorrow.
Oh, God.
And he told her that, I promise you I'll be back tomorrow. The next day, two men riding dirt bikes in a cane field off Highway 56 in Bayou Blue discovered Detrell Woods' body laying next to his bicycle. Laying next to his bicycle.
Oh, my God.
So he had gone to get his bicycle.
Yeah.
And he was probably coming home.
Yep.
Now, when they'd finally managed to find a telephone, the two dirt bike riders told police they had, quote, found a Black man who was dead and puffy. That's what they said.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, when detectives arrived at the scene, what they were describing was that decomposition was well underway. It appeared as if the man had been in the field for much longer than he actually had been.
Is that because we're dealing with the elements?
I think it was mostly the elements, but it was very interesting because they were like, it really looks like he's been here longer, but he hadn't. Now, among the first things that Houma City Detective, and let me just preface this, his name rhymes. It's
sometimes you need
it's
a
going to give
humor.
you a little giggle.
A little
I don't want
relief.
anyone to think I'm laughing at anything like inappropriate. It's just this name rhymes. His name is Detective Simon Fryman. So
alrighty.
It's a pretty awesome name.
You go Detective Fryman.
So there's your quick little like take a breath for a minute because this is very heavy. So take a breath. Thank you, Detective Simon Fryman, for having that name. But coming right back into it, one of the first things that he noticed was that Woods wasn't wearing any shoes, yet he had no dirt on the bottom of his feet. So that indicated that he was already dead when his body was left in the cane field. He obviously didn't walk out there. And also the tires on his bike appeared clean and there weren't any tire tracks in the dirt, which also suggested that whoever had dumped his body had also carried the bike to the scene instead of rolling it there, that's interesting. And that does give you insight into the kind of possible build or strength that this person has.
Absolutely.
They're not only bringing his body out there,
but the bike too,
but holding the bike, not rolling the bike. And it's like, that's an interest to me. That's like, like that should give and when you look at Ronald Dominique, when they finally catch him, he's a big guy.
He's very intimidating.
So it's like, that was very telling. It's something small, but it's something.
It's anything.
It gives you
we don't have anything else.
You know, that's like a little bit insight. I think I'm assuming they caught that, I would hope, but like that would be first on my mind is like, I think we're looking for someone that's like big and strong.
Right.
Now, the preliminary autopsy found no signs of trauma or injury to Detrell's body. And there were no signs of defensive wounds, like the preliminary autopsy.
Okay.
Also, it didn't appear as though he'd been bound at either the wrists or the ankles. The only evidence pointing to murder was that Detrell Woods had been manually strangled, which was the cause of death.
Okay.
That's why the preliminary autopsy, like taking one look at the body, the outside, that's what a preliminary one usually is. They didn't see anything that would stick out to them because, one, he was already in a strangely accelerated state of decomposition. So that's going to throw it off a little. But also, that's why you didn't see any like outside injuries, is because he was manually strangled.
That makes sense.
And which, again, is strange as well, because he wasn't bound.
Yeah, we're going back and forth.
So it's like, how did that happen? But then again, this is an 18-year-old young man
up against Ronald.
Going against this very large man.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see that. He could probably do it pretty quickly. Now, according to the few friends that they were able to speak to, Detrell was described by them as slow in his learning capabilities.
Okay.
Which just goes to show you he was vulnerable.
Yeah.
He was part of that whole... Ronald Dominique is a little monstrous bitch. And he goes after marginalized and vulnerable people who... And it's just like fucked up. When you hear that, you're like, that's so fucked up.
It is.
Like, that's... it just makes me so angry.
Mm.
But
it's another level of fucked up upon every other level that he's already checked off.
It really is. And it just like, it makes Detrell so much more vulnerable to like asshole predators like this. And it's really upsetting to think about. But like nearly all of Dominique's victims, Detrell Woods had been somewhat known to police for like some minor offenses. And according to Detective, and this is the part that's really going to get your blood boiling, everybody, so get ready. According to Detective Dennis Thornton, when it came to investigating the murders of people they considered on the fringes of proper society, I will say, they described it as, quote, the attitude was, don't break your neck. They were like, don't put yourself out investigating these kind of murders.
Don't put yourself up.
Don't break your neck trying to investigate these kind of situations. Any
person that gets killed in your jurisdiction, you should break your neck.
Like what?
You should do your fucking damnedest because that's the job you took.
Well, and
they didn't say try your hardest for like these certain kinds of people.
Don't break your neck over it.
It's like
don't put yourself out.
Wow.
And it's like they're not even being subtle about that.
No, not at all.
He said that with his whole chest. Like, he said the quiet part out loud. Yeah. That man just said, yep, this is the attitude everybody had.
And he said, hello, I'm a racist.
Like, what the fuck? Like, how, like, you gotta start thinking about it. You're like, because we look at these serial killers and we're like, how does a human being get to that point where they just have no humanity left in them? Like, how is that part of the human species, that person?
But then you see that inside of them.
Outside of that,
who are supposed to be fighting against this
and are supposed to be, and it's like, how the fuck are you? Like, you're just like, oh my god, like it's upsetting to think that people in power like that and people in authority can have those kind of like biases and thoughts. Like, some people are worth it and some people aren't. Like, that should never cross your mind.
Who the fuck are you to decide?
That's the thing.
Who the fuck are you?
That's the thing. Like who? What makes you?
What makes you any better than anybody else?
I don't get it. And I'm like, I know none of us are perfect.
No,
none of us have a squeaky clean from day one fucking reputation. It's like everybody has made mistakes. Everybody has stepped out of the line a little bit. Everybody has done something regretful in their life. If you say you haven't, you are lying and enjoy your ignorance. But everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, for you to be able to judge someone else so harshly while sitting there with dirt on you too is so wild to me. Because I'm like, we're all fucked up. We're all unclean.
Yeah.
Everybody. We're all just doing our best. Most of us are out here trying to do our best.
Right.
But it doesn't look like you are when you're acting that way to your fellow human.
No.
You talk to like you read about these family members and friends of these young men.
Right.
Most of them that I have read, all of the ones that I've read that have spoken about it, have said that these men were trying to like get themselves back on track. They had families.
Yeah.
They had kids in most cases. They were working. They were just trying to like get themselves above water. And it's like, everyone's been there.
Well, and also everybody is somebody.
Exactly.
And like, I think that's the attitude that you should have if you're an investigator.
Yes.
Everybody is somebody. And because you're somebody and you have a somebody, how do you not look at it like that?
How do you not see that? Because when working in the morgue, that's how we looked at every single person who came in there. This is somebody, so you treat it like it's your somebody.
Exactly.
Because I would want somebody to treat my somebody as their somebody in that situation.
Right.
So it's just,
it's also just like, I don't understand why, we're going off, but I don't understand why you go into this line of work if that's not how you think.
I know.
Like, I don't know.
Sometimes
why are you here?
Sometimes it's a power thing.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's not, some people are there to help and to be the person that like takes care of people and is there to, stop danger and keep people safe. And then some of them get into it because they like the power.
Yeah, it's an ego thing.
Like we've all been around those kind.
We sure have.
So we've all
she said that with a heavy hand.
So we all know those kind.
Oh, that's just really sad. And I can't imagine having to read that later as somebody's family member.
And just knowing that they were like, we're not going to break your neck to break our necks to figure out what happened to your child. And it's like, wow, okay.
I'm glad he got like called out for saying that.
Yeah.
This part of the show is brought to you by Anua, the Korean skincare brand known for scientific, gentle, yet effective formulations. The latest from Anua is the Retinol Collagen Gua Sha Cream, a firming cream with a gua sha-shaped tip built right in. Have you guys heard of gua sha? It's that viral massage tool that moves fluid and tension out of your face. Less puffiness, a snatched jawline, honey, more definition in your face. Retinol firms and reduces fine lines, and collagen keeps your skin plump and structured. This cream has both of those things, arguably the most optimal combo for that snatched, lifted look all in one step. I am obsessed with the Gua Sha cream. First of all, it feels so cool to the touch when you put that on your face. It's just like, this is lovely. It's like a little spa treatment that you can give yourself. I like to do mine at night after I get out of the shower. I rub the cream on my face with the little gua sha. I'm sculpting that jawline, honey. I got it on the cheekbones. And actually, I had a facial the other day, and the lady doing my facial, the professional, she said, "Do you use a gua sha at home?" And I said, "I do." And I said, "How did you know that?" And she said, "I didn't have those little like bumps in my chin or like different areas like that." So she could tell that I was using the gua sha. And I said, "Oh my God." I just feel like I wake up less puffy in the morning when I do it the night before. But you can do it whenever you want to. I, 10 out of 10, recommend this product. The Anua Gua Sha Cream Value Set is available at anua.com, already discounted. Use code MORBID for an extra 10% off. That's ANUA.com, code MORBID. The Sherwin-Williams summer sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off their newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're looking to refresh your interior or your exterior, they've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Now, a year and a half passed before Ronald Dominique killed again. So, see? Another de-escalation
And
moment.
he goes like boom, 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 boom. Like one of those, there was like 6 days in between them. And then it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Like
he
drops
goes
off.
hard. And then he stops for a while. And they're not making headway. And it's like, take these opportunities to make the headway.
Right.
But he had been laid off from his job at Caro Produce in January of 2004. But he quickly found another job with a maintenance company, and he worked there for 6 months. And then he left there for another job, not keeping a job, the classic serial killer.
A maintenance guy. Can you imagine that guy going into your fucking house?
Yeah. And then he got a job as a meter reader for an electric company, which was a job that required him to spend considerable time driving the back roads of Bayou Blue in the surrounding area. Now, one of those areas was Des Allemands, which I think I said that right. I looked it up a million times. Des Allemands, an unincorporated region that fell in both St. Charles and Lafource parishes.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we're in Louisiana.
Yeah.
In late October, Hurricane Matthew hit the greater New Orleans area. There was 80-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, it caused havoc, and especially in the landscape in Des Allemands, this unincorporated area. So when the storm had finally passed through, Jeff Murrow had gone out to survey the damage around town.
Okay.
Just one of the residents just going around.
Right.
That's when he noticed the body of a young man lying beside a pond about 20 minutes from his home. So Jeff Murrow headed back to his house to get his neighbor. His neighbor was Don Jerome, who was a criminalist with the St. Charles Sheriff's Department. So he was like, you're a good person to have.
Yeah.
They both returned to the pond and he helped survey the scene. Now, during this initial examination of the body at the scene, Jerome was unable to find any identification on the victim. This man's body was extremely wet, quote unquote, which indicated that the killer had dumped this man's body during the hurricane.
Oh.
This suggested that he was desperate to get rid of this man's body.
Yeah.
Once detectives arrived on the scene, Jerome took photographs and searched for any evidence on or around this man's body, but found nothing. Now, the autopsy was conducted the following day, and during this, Dr. Frank Johnson determined, quote, whoever had killed the victim had used a lot of force.
Oh, wow.
Also, Johnson discovered the victim had suffered blunt force trauma to his shoulder, lower back, and buttocks, and clotted blood was in the muscles of the neck, which was indicative of very strong strangulation.
Wow.
Very aggressive. Despite all this evidence of violence, the cause of death was listed as accidental cocaine overdose.
What?
Yep.
Why?
I want you to hear that again. Dr. Frank Johnson said that the victim was killed using a lot of force. That's a quote. And then said that there was blunt force trauma to his shoulder, lower back, and buttocks, and clotted blood in the muscles of the neck, indicative of strangulation. But the cause of death is accidental cocaine overdose.
How? What?
Yeah.
I don't, how did they get away with that?
How did they get away with a lot of this
Was there
stuff?
even any cocaine in this person's system? What?
No idea.
Blunt force trauma to cocaine overdose?
Yeah. Yeah. And in the middle of a hurricane.
What?
It's
is there even any damage to the heart whatsoever?
Doesn't make any sense.
That. What?
Now, and again, we still don't know who this person is. So fingerprints taken by the coroner turned out to be a match for 46-year-old Larry Matthews. Police reports described him as, quote, somewhat homeless, which I was like,
the fuck does that
mean? A nice way to describe someone. And Matthews apparently had few connections in the area. And according to his brother, though, there was no one who would have wanted to hurt him.
No.
And a day later, however, detectives in Thibodaux got a call from Houma police saying that they had a man in custody by the name of Jim Jarman. And this man named Jim Jarman had information about the murder of Larry Matthews.
Huh.
Now, according to Jarman, he had been visiting a friend in Thibodaux a few nights earlier when Larry Matthews showed up at the house and the two men got talking about drugs. This is according to Jim Jarman, by the way.
Who's currently being held.
Now, according to Jim Jarman, Matthews told him he knew where he could get some drugs and some sex workers. But in order to do so, he'd need to borrow Jim Jarman's car. So Jarman agreed and gave Matthews the keys, but Matthews never returned. Which is why Jarman contacted police and actually filed a police report for his missing car.
Okay. It's a very strange story.
Don't know if that whole thing, that is all from Jim Jarman. We do know that apparently he filed a police report because his car was missing because he thought Larry Matthews had run off with it.
Okay.
So using the information provided by Jarman, detectives were able to trace Larry Matthews' movements back to a party where he'd left from. But beyond that, they really had nothing to work with. A day later, the car Matthews had left in was found to be in the possession of 4 young men who fled after being pulled over, and the car was impounded and then returned to Jim Jarman.
This is strange.
So they claimed that there appeared to be no signs of violence or foul play at the scene or in the car. And so detectives stuck with the cause of death provided by the coroner, and the case was officially closed.
That's the wildest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Truly
Blunt
wild.
Force trauma, nope, cocaine.
Nope, cocaine. And indicative of strangulation.
No, cocaine.
So Ronald Dominique waited less than 2 weeks to kill again. Like we said, he goes through these bursts. In late October 2004, the owners of Gator Storage, which was a self-storage business in Bayou Blue, they got a complaint from a customer who was saying there was a bad smell coming from one of the units. So they went out to check the offending unit, and they found out that it wasn't held by padlocks and chains, which was typical of a storage unit.
Yeah.
It was held shut with only a twist tie.
What?
So the woman noticed the smell right away, and she also noticed a dark fluid resembling blood seeping out from under the storage unit door.
That's absolutely terrifying.
So she opened the door to the unit, and she was confronted with the dead body of a man she believed to be middle-aged, maybe in his 50s.
Oh, God.
So Houma police were dispatched to Gator Storage, and they were accompanied by the Terrebonne, I believe that's how you say it, I hope I said it right, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's deputies. They immediately learned that the business had very little, if any, security measures in place, especially for, a storage business.
Yeah.
There were no cameras, no alarms.
Come on.
No other technology that they could rely on for any help or leads, which is probably why this one was chosen. In fact, the only thing detectives had to work with was the list of 50 or so names of renters that were provided to them by the owners of Gator Storage.
Wow.
And they ran through every name on it, and they still had no idea who the man in the storage shed was or how he got in there in the first place.
Okay.
So the body was initially labeled a John Doe and was transported to the coroner's office. Due to the heat and humidity in the storage unit, the state of decomp was very far along, much too far along to determine really much of anything, other than that this victim was a white male and in his early 20s.
Wow.
So they thought he was in his 50s. That's how decomposed his
Right.
body was. And that there was no obvious signs of trauma to the body. But again, that's tough.
Yeah.
Autopsy technicians moved the body to refrigeration, hoping an identification would come and provide some more details. Now, a couple days later, Houma police receive a call from a local business owner named Frances Barber. She was concerned that she hadn't seen or heard from her friend, Michael Barnett. The last time she'd seen him was on Friday, October 24th, when he'd left her apartment on his bicycle, telling her he had plans to meet a girl at a nearby fire station. Detectives showed Barber a sketch of a dragon tattoo that they had actually taken from the body they found in the in the storage unit.
Yep.
And Barber confirmed that it was indeed Michael Barnett's tattoo, saying, quote, "I'm positively sure Michael has that tattoo. I remember seeing it many times." Now, while detectives finished up their interview with Frances Barber, Detective Simon, our friend Detective Simon there, went to the fire station to talk to anyone who was on duty that night that the man was said to be on his way there. But no one remembered having seen him. No one saw anything out of the ordinary that night. So it didn't appear that he had made it there.
Right.
Now, they only had a kind of tentative identification at this point. A tattoo's a pretty good identifier, but you can't use it as like word, you know? But investigators interviewed Michael Barnett's friends and family, hoping it would lead them to physical evidence they could use to confirm the identification. In the process, they learned that Barnett had come to Louisiana from Mississippi several years earlier and had on and off again relationships with his friends and family. But they, too, had grown concerned about him when several weeks had passed and they hadn't heard from him. They were like, yeah, it's like, it's on and off, like how everything's going, tumultuous shit, like, every family, whatever. But they were like, we were worried when we hadn't heard from him itself. Like, that wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Now, according to two of Barnett's friends, he'd recently moved in with a new roommate named Dorian Bates. And they felt certain that Dorian was involved in whatever happened to their friend.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Meanwhile, another detective, Dawn Bergeron, had received a warrant for Barnett's apartment, and she was hoping that there they would be able to find fingerprints or other physical evidence to confirm this identification finally. But it seemed Barnett had very few belongings at the time of his death, but Bergeron did discover that Barnett lived in a group home in his youth. And this girl, like this detective, I'm like, girl, yes.
Yeah.
She went for it.
She did.
Because she found out when he was younger, he lived in a group home. And she was like, I bet he saw a dentist there. So by the time she tracked the dentist down, he had retired and had sold his practice.
Fuck.
But she was like,
who'd you sell
I'm going to
to?
talk to the new owner.
Yeah.
So she talked to the new owner. The new owner kept all the old records
Smart.
and faxed Barnett's dental records to the Houma Police Department, and they were used to successfully identify the body discovered in the Gator storage unit as being that of Michael Barnett.
Which is so sad, but also you're happy that he was able to be identified.
Yeah, and I'm glad that detective took all of those steps. Time, like she went the distance to find those records.
She put her fucking neck out for it.
She did. Now, the local papers picked up on the story before detectives even knew the victim's name. And the press didn't hesitate to connect this latest victim to the serial killer stalking suburban New Orleans. This time, however, there was a break in the pattern, it seemed. Not only was Michael Barnett a white man, but the killer had also gone out of his way to hide his body. He hadn't left him out in the open.
Which he usually does.
He's usually pretty conspicuous. Unfortunately, while detectives also agreed that this was most likely the work of this serial killer, that they didn't know who it was at this point, they found themselves at another dead end.
Ugh.
You know, like they're not getting anything new here. They had managed to get as far as identifying this victim, but there was really no other evidence at the scene. The list of storage unit renters went nowhere. They looked into all of them.
Right.
So there was little else that they could do but wait until the killer found another victim, basically, which is what they would end up doing a lot.
Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl, or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70.
Need a boost? Sometimes all it takes is tapping into your inner cool. Icebreaker's gum helps you unleash the confidence within. Each chew releases a rush of icy flavor powered by cooling flavor crystals, sending a wave of refreshment to reinvigorate all your senses. Icebreaker's convenient pack fits everywhere, from car cup holders to backpack pockets, so you can find your cool wherever you go. Grab Icebreaker's gum online or at a store near you.
Now, as it turned out, Houma detectives didn't have to wait long to see another victim. On the morning of February 20th, 2005, a father and son were out riding their dirt bikes with a friend in a grassy field behind the Houma Shrine Center when one of them noticed some clothing laying on the ground. They went up to it to inspect further and realized it was in fact a person lying on the ground, but they couldn't tell whether he was alive. They thought maybe he was just drunk and passed out, sleeping it off in a field.
Yeah.
They've seen that before, apparently, or they were like, I didn't know if he was dead or unconscious.
Yeah.
So they called the Houma police, who were immediately dispatched to the scene. Detective Simon was among the first to arrive at what was, now a familiar scene, unfortunately. Right. The man was lying on his side, wearing only blue jeans and socks, and he had clear ligature marks on his neck and wrists. As he was bagging one of the victim's hands for processing, Detective Fryman got a look at the young man's face and was shocked to realize that he knew who this person was.
Oh, wow.
This was 22-year-old Leon Lerette, one of the suspects in the murder of Anoka Jones.
Oh, wow.
The last person.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was one of the last people to see Jones alive.
What the fuck? And that's just by happenstance.
It's wild. So, like so many other of Dominique's victims, Leon had struggled to maintain stable housing and had been arrested a few times for petty crimes. He would associate with some drug dealers in the area. Like, that's how police knew him.
Yeah.
Detective Fryman immediately tracked down all those known associates, but none of them had seen Leon for several days. And his family hadn't heard from him in that time either.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, Fryman tracked Leon's movements to the Sugar Bowl Motel, which was a location that's pretty popular with sex workers and those looking to procure their services. According to 2 witnesses at the motel, Leon had been seen a couple of days before his death with another white guy driving an older-looking Chevrolet Suburban.
Okay.
Now, while Fryman worked the streets trying to track down anyone who could help them find the killer, an autopsy technician began doing a primary analysis of Leon's body. As far as they could tell, Leon had been dead for about 24 to 36 hours before he was found. Hemorrhaging in both eyes indicated that the cause of death was likely strangulation, and there was evidence to suggest that he had been sexually assaulted.
Oh, no.
Now, according to the autopsy technician, quote, the victim was extremely drunk at the time of his death, and it would not have taken much force to strangle him.
Oh, that's
so he was
really
taken advantage
sad.
of in a big way. Also, the autopsy confirmed that Leon had been killed in almost exactly the same way as the other suspected serial killer murder victims. There was very little doubt at this point that he was part of this body count.
Right.
Now, we're going to go into the last phase of murders between 2005 and 2006 now. Once again, Ronald Dominique's choice of victims, which are marginalized, transient, what the media was calling high risk, vulnerable people, and his propensity to move between jurisdictions as he killed had worked to his advantage, unfortunately.
Right.
He'd left almost no evidence at the scene of any of these men's bodies, and Leon's transient lifestyle made it incredibly difficult for detectives to just trace his movements. They were trying to figure out where he'd been, and it was hard. While this had allowed him to be, successfully evade capture since the late 1990s, by 2005, it had also made him more brazen as well. He was becoming way more brazen.
I was waiting for that.
Which is usually when they fuck up and they get caught.
You would hope so.
Now, also, Dominique's body count was rising, and everyone in and around New Orleans was beginning to take note every time any body was found anywhere.
Finally.
Now, by the time the body of 31-year-old August Watkins was discovered in a field behind the Lafource Work Release Center, investigators knew there was no longer it wasn't going to be possible to conduct this investigation quietly and out of the public eye. You know how they were trying to keep a lot of things quiet?
I'm surprised they were able to for as long as they did.
Me too. But it was honestly becoming detrimental because so much speculation was happening. Now, Watkins was a black man known to police for some petty crimes, and he had a history of unstable housing and employment.
Yeah.
Now, at the time of his death, Watkins had just been evicted from his apartment, and he'd been sleeping in the stairway underneath the Houma tunnel.
Oh, that's the saddest thing ever.
I know. Now, an autopsy confirmed that Watkins' cause of death was strangulation.
Yeah.
The discovery of August Watkins meant that he was the 17th victim of this killer. This prompted the Houma police chief, Pat Boudreau, to call a press conference, and he said, I think there is enough evidence to be concerned there is a serial killer in our area.
17 bodies, I would think.
Wow, yeah, thank you for finally coming to that. He pointed to the unsolved murders of all these men in parishes around New Orleans and told the press that law enforcement officials from various agencies had been working together to determine whether the murders of Anoka Jones, Detrell Woods, Michael Barnett, Leon Lirette, and August Watkins were related. Chief investigator for St. Charles Parish, Sam Zinna, told reporters, we think without question Jones fits into the group with Houma and Lafourche as far as lifestyles and being found along the same corridor area. So they're at least coming forward with something.
Finally.
Now, in all the counties where Dominique's victims had been discovered, investigators did their best to coordinate with one another, like we were saying.
Right.
But what they really needed was an official, state-sanctioned task force, like Ash brought up. And it should have been happening so much earlier than this.
Way earlier.
And when you finally get that official state-sanctioned task force, you get all the resources that come with that.
Exactly.
And they needed it.
Badly.
And they needed it so much earlier than this. I mean, when they were hitting those long stretches of 8 months, a year between murders, that task force should have been put into position so that they could use all that shit to move it forward. They were just sitting there with this stale case and letting another body appear out of nowhere.
They didn't care enough.
And it's like, what the fuck? Again, we've seen task force work so well before.
And
we've seen
way
it
sooner.
Now, unfortunately, the federal authorities found the links between the cases, their high-risk lifestyles, quote unquote, too tenuous to justify the cost of a statewide task force.
They were all killed in exactly the same manner, and a lot of them were disposed of in the same manner.
It's a polite way of saying that the victims, gay black men who some were involved in sex work, had a transient lifestyle, saying that they weren't exactly sympathetic enough to warrant the expense of similar task forces. Ones that at the time had been recently assembled to catch Baton Rouge serial killer Derek Todd Lee, whose victims were white college co-eds.
That's so fucked up.
So they're saying quietly. They're making sure that one stays a little more subtle. But that's what they were saying.
It's just so sad.
How does 17 young men not justify a task force? I don't get that.
And how do you think that? And just
I don't give a shit what the reasoning is.
The fact that so many people had to get together and decide upon this, and they all collectively came to the same decision.
No one was like, what the fuck, guys?
Like, you have to hope that somebody sitting in one of those rooms was like, are you fucking kidding me? But they didn't have pull.
Yeah. Now, it's awful.
That's so disheartening.
It is. Now, the increased press coverage of the case and the speculation from various outlets that the cases might be linked was precisely the kind of attention that they did need to move that needle in the right direction, because people were starting to put these together. So following the discovery of August Watkins, a small amount of resources was allocated to finally assemble a task force to catch this killer. So it was as soon as they came out and said, you know what, I don't think it's fine. It's tenuous. We're not really worried about it. That's when finally the pressure came in, where they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's 17 dead bodies here.
What are we doing here?
Let's get it together. And finally, the right communities are hearing about it too. And they're able to put pressure on finally, because they're finally hearing that they are together. Risk. So this included law enforcement from each of the parishes in which each of the victims were discovered. So this is a lot of parishes coming together for this task force too.
That's great.
And they started with Oliver LeBancs. Remember Oliver?
Yes.
For some reason, Oliver, when you look up pictures of these men, and I'm telling you, it's going to rip your heart out.
Oliver has a very familiar face.
He does. He reminds me of someone, but look up pictures of these men. Because I'm telling you, it's gonna tear your and I don't mean crime scene photos. I mean like photos of who they
were in their lives.
And it's like that'll make you realize how, if you haven't already realized how horrific it is that they were completely ignored and just treated as trash.
And completely dehumanized.
Yeah. So they started with Oliver LeBancs, and they went through the most recent victim, August Watkins, with this task force. And finally, we're going to see a little movement forward in this case.
That's where she's going to
That is where I'm going to leave off on part 2.
Oh my gosh. You know what though? That was a very heavy episode. Yes. So I think you're leaving us with some hope, which I have to thank you for.
And have hope,
because my God.
In part 3 we have some more heavy stuff coming up, but it's a lot to take in all at once.
Yeah.
But we are going to get a little bit. We're going to get something at the end.
We're moving in the right direction.
I promise you we will finally see, but just understand how awfully this case was represented in the press, when it was represented at all.
I don't know how you couldn't at this point.
It's wild to me.
Wow.
But stay tuned.
And these poor families that had to sit around years and years and years and just think like, well, is the day ever going to come that I'm going to find out what happened to my kid?
These families had to push just to get their family members treated like human beings. And then they also had to sit there, like we have in part 3, we'll talk about it. These families would have to talk to reporters just to try to get it moved forward. And they would have to be like, yeah, my son, made mistakes. He had some tough struggles in life, but he was doing this. It's like, you shouldn't have to validate why your child or why this person that you love is a human being that deserves to be treated like a human being. That's so sad that you have to validate that. Yeah, he made mistakes, but he was doing better. And it's like, that's okay that he made mistakes.
It's so gross.
He's still a person.
So gross that people are put in that position.
Yeah, it's just very upset.
But no, I'm glad that we're going to get some kind of justice in part 3. So
stay tuned for part 3.
Yeah.
And
with that being said, we hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
keep
it
weird. I don't have to tell you not to keep it this weird.
It's just really sad.
God almighty.
You wouldn't take financial advice from a 72 hours in a single day alpha influencer, would you? Same goes if you're in a car accident or any accident. Who you choose matters. That's why Morgan & Morgan exists. They're the largest injury law firm in America, and they've built a reputation by actually winning cases, not just talking about it. Over 1,000 lawyers across all 50 states and $30 billion recovered. Injured? Go to forthepeople.com/podcast. That's forthepeople.com/podcast.
In the U.S., there's a break-in every 26 seconds. But when intruders step near, Simply Safe Home Security steps up.
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on the way.
Using AI alerts, U.S.-based live agents help deter break-ins. Simply Safe, no long-term contracts. Save 50% on your new system with professional monitoring at simplysafe.com/SXM or with promo code SXM.
Outdoor deterrence requires a Simply Safe Active Guard outdoor protection plan starting at $49.99 a month. Visit simplysafe.com/licenses for alarm license information. Tennessee 2012.